Everybody, do me a favor here real quick. Everybody kind of take a quick second. Maybe you're drinking a glass of wine on this Sunday. Maybe you're just hanging out. You're not drinking anything at all. Everybody just do me a favor and a quick shout out to Coach Will Hardy, part of the Utah Jazz crew that tonight was critical. Got to be honest, there's some games that you look at your own coach to try to get you a W. And then there's other times where you got to look at that opposing bench down there and say, maybe you could help us out a little bit here. Maybe you could help out a crew that's trying to just try to grab some W's. Has not exactly been the greatest stretch for Lakers basketball. I think we're all talking about that. We all understand that. Sometimes you need some help from the other side. Real quick here, we got a lot to get into in this post-game show. Before I get started, let's just hear Bron here real quick with Mike Trudell.
Talk about you have to have other things in the game. You have to have counters to it.
Baby Will Hardy
was passing for you. What did you see in the first half as you got the assist going?
I see a little bit of everything. One thing about me, if the shot is not going, I still can make plays and still make an impact on the game. And I was able to do that. My teammates held me down with a poor shooting night, but I just try to make plays for them throughout the whole course of the game.
Shout out Will Hardy.
Tonight without some of your regular guards and some of your firepower, what did you see from Gabe?
Bring up Coach Hardy, my guy.
No, that was great. Obviously, Gabe coming in and making a start. I think he had a season high in points today, so that was big time for him. And I thought Jalen Hood-Schifino gave us a big boost off the bench. I thought AT came in. All the guys, some G League guys came in and gave us a boost that we needed when we were short-handed like that, and everybody pitched in.
Shout out Will Hardy.
22, but no rest for you.
Somebody mentioned Hardy.
Tomorrow night, so what's the process for that?
I get some sleep, treatment and sleep. So, it starts now. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
All right, that's LeBron right there.
All right, you heard from LeBron James right there.
Nothing from on Will Hardy. We'll get into that in just a little bit. That's going to be the theme of tonight's show. I got to tell everybody here, Lakers were probably about to get served an L against one of the worst teams in the NBA, and we'll take the win. It's all good. Kind of get wins as you can, that whole thing. But Lakers, not exactly the best team right now. Certainly need a little help from the opposing coach. Nice work, Will Hardy. Baby Will Hardy. Everybody kind of stand up. I think we give a stand and go for Will Hardy. Give it Will Hardy, everybody. Baby Will. Good work, Will. All right, we got a lot to get into in this post-game show. Thank you all for hanging out. We're going to be here. We're going to be hanging out here for a while. Just kind of kick back and relax. Take your time. For a second there, I thought this thing was over. I thought we were just going to be sitting here and we're just going to talk about, all right, Lakers through 20 games. Some news a little bit earlier. Ingram joining Clutch Sports. I'm like, let me throw that in there real quick. And then the Lakers were fighting for their life to beat the Utah Jazz. How many wins did the Jazz have? I know they got one of the worst records in the Western Conference. If I'm not mistaken, they might have the worst record in the Western Conference. But let's take a quick look here. 4-15. I don't know if that's with this win or not. The Pelicans are 4-17. They've lost 8 in a row, 1 of 9 in their last 10 games. They got a ton of injuries. I thought we were going to be kicking back and just talking about a few of the topics that I mentioned. And then in, a split second, Lakers, it felt like had a comfortable 8-point lead down the stretch there. Then in a split second, you're looking at this thing and it's like, this thing's Lakers they're coming unhinged here. They can't grab an offensive rebound. They can't grab a rebound. They can't get stops towards the end there. All of a sudden, the offense, LeBron takes just an ill-advised 3 when you're up by 1. It makes no sense why he's taking that 3. Too much hero ball, in my opinion. Colin Sexton, I don't think he got the rebound, but he ended up with a ball. You got Will Hardy, the coach of the Utah Jazz, saying, go, go, go. They got a timeout. They don't want to use it. 8-10 seconds left, whatever it was. Sexton gets all the way to the basket, passes by Rui Hachimura, goes up with his right hand, hits the shot off the glass to give the Jazz a 106-105 lead. But my guy, one of my favorite coaches in the league, I haven't spent enough time talking about how much I appreciate Will Hardy. I appreciate Will Hardy. Laker fans might be sitting there and say, Al, this is the first time we've ever heard you say this. Yeah, I understand that. Sometimes I'm not open with my feelings and my opinion. Will Hardy won the Lakers this game tonight, and if he doesn't call timeout at a time where really didn't make sense, by that point, you're either calling a timeout right at the beginning or you're not calling a timeout. And he waited till Will Hardy, by the way, turned the corner on Rui Hachimura, got to the basket, and then decided to call timeout. You got 2 seconds left. You guys saw the final shot that they got. It wasn't going to be anything towards the basket. It wasn't going to be as good of a look as they were going to get. And Lakers escape over the Utah Jazz. Escape is the right word. I heard Spectrum talking about it. I heard Stu say it before the broadcast when I was just getting my thumbnail ready, which usually takes me like 2 minutes after the game ends. I heard Byron Scott saying it on their post-game show. Escape is the right word. They avoid losing against one of the worst teams in the NBA. And I get it. Listen, Lakers don't have all their players. We'll get into what that starting lineup looked like, why they had to play guys like Jalen Hood-Schifino and some of these other guys as many minutes as they did. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of over the excuses. I don't really have any excuses for the Lakers. They're either going to win games they should win, or they're going to lose, and we're going to talk about it. But either way, if anybody here was ready to make an excuse for the Utah or this game against the Utah Jazz, that was not coming from me. I was not going to make any excuses. So again, shout out to our coach. Shout out to Will Hardy. That's my guy. That's my guy. He's my second favorite head coach right now in the NBA. I have no idea what he was doing. The good thing is we're going to get an opportunity to probably hear from all these players and certainly from JJ Redick, and we're going to go from there. All right, let's talk about the actual game. This is a weird one, Laker fans. I got to be honest with you. It's a weird one. I'll tell you why. There's a few reasons. By the way, I didn't even set up anything here. I just started talking. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Of course, the Lakers escaped. They beat the Jazz 105-104. If you're on this post-game show or you're hanging out with me in the morning, whenever it is, I always appreciate everybody hanging out on this channel. And certainly it's one of my favorite things to do is talk Lakers basketball and do it right after a Lakers game. So thank you for doing it on a Sunday night. I ask one thing from everybody here. Just take a second or two to subscribe to the channel. I'd greatly appreciate that. All right, let's talk about the actual game. It's a weird feeling to have about the game. I think there are times that you just want to say, if you just get the win, you'll feel good about it. I feel much better being 12-8 through the first 20 games, which we were one Will Hardy timeout of being 11-9 through the first 20 games, a team that started the season out 10-4. The Lakers have their fair share of issues. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this team is in a great position. I think whatever we thought this team was through the first 14 games, it has not looked like that. So there's a little bit of, you got a certain taste in your mouth of, man, it'd be nice if they'd have just handled the Utah Jazz, or man, it would have been nice once they got out to a 10-4 start that through the first 20 games, they were 13-7. I think 13-7 would have been a phenomenal record to kind of represent the first 20 games. That's not the case. And they barely got to 12-8, but that's where they are, the 12-8. This game specifically against Utah, they just couldn't close them out. I mean, how many different times did the Lakers, they grow a 6 or 8 point lead? The game never got to one team's down by 14 or 15. So it was never like that. It's not like the Lakers weren't control the game from the start. I think by the end of the first quarter, they were down 1. By halftime, they were up 2. Going into the fourth quarter, I think by that point, maybe take a 5-6 point lead, something along those lines. But the game was back and forth. But I thought as you got towards the end of the game, Lakers would start taking control. They kind of put themselves in a position where they would take over the game. That wasn't the case at all. And some of these guys from Utah, this is one of the things that we always talk about. Anytime a team plays the Lakers, they're up for it. There's something about playing the Lakers that obviously gets these guys going, and that was certainly the case tonight for the Utah Jazz. Let's take a quick listen. Let's just hear what JJ Redick's got to say. I know a lot of people got their thoughts too. I'm going to read some of your comments when we come back as well. Stay right here. Give me 1 second. Here's JJ.
In the second half, and try to get the matchup we wanted for LeBron to just handle in that pick and roll. And truthfully, that was the best offense we were going to generate. So whether we missed or made it, we just kept going to that. Thought we got some clean looks that could have given us a little bit more of a cushion. But I liked our execution offensively. And then, just a
not at the end,
big time play at the end from Bron and AD and Christian, who we put in for the last play to be on the ball. This was a great win for us. This was a great win, and tomorrow's going to be tough. I mean, we're coming off 3 and 4 nights where the travel was a little messed up, and guys had Thanksgiving. I'm just impressed with our group. I thought our bench, whether it was Max Christie or the minutes Armel played or the minutes Christian played, the minutes Jalen played, I thought they all did really well with their minutes and gave us a chance to win the game.
How about Gabe in that starting spot?
He was
want to save great
both ends of the court was good.
Better win.
Shot ready, and again, some of the stuff down the stretch, him and Max Christie just playing the game a little bit. They were trying to not have George in the pick and roll, and those guys used their basketball IQ to make sure we got the matchups we wanted.
And just on that, it looked like Will Hardy, I assume he had tried to call it a little earlier or something like by the time the refs gave it to him. Obviously, Sexton scores.
They sold Hardy jerseys. I'd get one.
Knowing how little time is on the clock, what are the key things for you to emphasize defensively so they don't get a clean look? And obviously, LeBron AD came over and helped. But
yeah, I think just we were going to red, and so just being physical with those. Redick before, obviously, and then an awareness. Obviously they didn't run a set that gave him this look, but an awareness for Kessler, Collins kind of slipping out towards the rim, and then just a heightened awareness and a physicality with Markkanen, and Braun kind of pushed him off his spot, and Christian did a good job of just being active there, and ended up having to, with that amount of time, you don't want to necessarily be throwing the ball back towards half court. You want to be throwing the ball towards the rim, and our guys did a good job with that.
JJ, when you got the shot
there, stop right there here. There are just too many comments, and I got too much stuff going on as well, where I want to give everybody a chance to throw their opinions on this. I would, if I'm JJ, I'm holding off on saying that was a great win. They escaped against the Utah Jazz. And I'm going to get into who started the game. And I do understand that of course, has something to do with it. Let's just talk about that right now. Lakers to start this game. They went Rui, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Dalton Connect, and Gabe Vincent. Here's who was out for tonight's game. Jackson Hayes didn't play. Cam Reddish didn't play. Austin Reeves didn't play. D'Angelo Russell didn't play. Of course, Jared Vanderbilt and Christian Wood are also out. So all those guys didn't play as well. But not having Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell and Cam Reddish. I think Cam Reddish is a guy that can give Lakers some minutes. And to not have all three of those guys, of course, that was going to affect the game. I'm not trying to make it sound like Lakers should have won this game by 35 points. But Utah's not a good team, and they just played a game last night. This is a second of a back-to-back for the Utah Jazz, and you felt like you were in control of this game. You're up 8. Rui hit a couple of threes, had back-to-back threes. Braun went on a little bit of a run. They looked like they were in position to close out this game. The final few minutes, I have no idea what the Lakers were running. I don't understand the sets they were running. I'm going to give you guys some examples of just right off the top of my head of what I remember and what I noticed. There was a possession, LeBron kind of on a screen and roll, hit Anthony Davis, and AD was just nylon, just a beautiful, beautiful jumper, just a really, really nice look. The very next possession, they run the same thing, and AD's open. Braun doesn't pass it to him, takes a tough shot. There goes Utah in transition, and they end up getting a bucket. There were some small kind of execution plays that didn't go the Lakers' way, or they just didn't make the right decisions. The hero ball killed me. The three-point shooting killed me. I mean, if you look right here, if you look at the Lakers' stats here, there's a couple of them that stand out. Braun, 0 of 9 from the three-point line. Rui Hachimura, 2 of 8 from the three-point line. Dalton Connect. This is legitimately the first game that Dalton Connect has played as a pro, as a starter for the Lakers, where I will say, yeah, he didn't have a good game. He just didn't. He just didn't have the impact that you were hoping from Dalton Connect, especially with those other players out. And maybe that was part of the effect. The Utah Jazz thought, let's just guard Dalton Connect. That game that the Lakers had, remember that one where Connect had the 37 points, 9 of 12 from the three-point line, tied the rookie record for most threes in a game. That game, the 37-point performance that he had, it was against Utah. I remember my guy, one of my favorite coaches in the NBA, Will Hardy, who called a timeout at the last second to give the Lakers the W tonight. I remember Hardy during his postgame conference saying, yeah, everyone knew Connect it was something to this effect. Everyone knew that he was going to get the ball, he was going to shoot. Everybody except our team. So clearly they made an emphasis tonight to say, let's make sure that rookie's not dropping 37. Let's get him off the three-point line. They didn't have to worry about an Austin Reeves. They didn't have to worry about a D'Angelo Russell. They didn't have to worry about some of the other guards for the Lakers. So they can really focus on Dalton Connect. They did that tonight. But the three-point shooting as a team for the Lakers, atrocious. 7 of 33 from the three-point line, 21%. There's one thing I don't understand, and I'm not a head coach in the NBA, as you guys can tell. So maybe you could just clearly say, Al, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. But this is the one thing that I never understand in the game of basketball and in the NBA. Guys who are struggling with their three. I know people say, yeah, but you just got to shoot right through it. Even guys like Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and Ray Allen and Reggie Miller, go down to the greatest shooters that ever shot. Would they have bad games? Of course they would. But the one problem I have, if the shot ain't falling, stop pulling the trigger. Stop pulling the trigger. It's not falling tonight. And if I look at Bron, like I mentioned, the 0 of 9. All right, how about, here's a thought. Just stop taking threes. You don't have to take threes. Try to get a bucket that's 15 feet in. By the way, Bron was doing that. He was getting to the basket. He was at a couple possessions. He looked like one of those guys at a rec league was just posting your ass up, and he was hitting shots over Kessler or Lauri Markkanen. The three wasn't falling. And I almost feel like for some of these players, it becomes personal with them and the three-point line. It's like, well, that one didn't fall. You watch the next time. Shot's not falling tonight. You don't have to keep forcing it. And if you're trying to get into some type of rhythm, this isn't just Bron. This is just a couple of these players. And I think, like I said, the Lakers shot 21% from the three-point line. I would think it ain't your night from the three-point line. Maybe you stop shooting threes, but they kept firing them away, especially when they didn't need them. Bron taking the three at that final possession for what? What's the point of taking the three? Like, I don't. You're up 1. Even if you hit that shot, you're obviously going for the dagger. You're up 4. The game is over, but you're the one that's up. Go get a good shot. Go get a shot going to the basket. Give Anthony Davis the ball at the block. See if he can get you up 3. By the way, if you hit a shot and you're up 3, you're going to play the foul game anyways, and you're not going to give Utah a chance to go take that three-pointer. So I just wasn't a fan of a lot of the late game execution. I'm very, very, I clearly understand who the Lakers had in the game, who they didn't have in the game. I'm very aware that they were missing guys like Austin Reeves. They were missing guys like D'Angelo Russell, Cam Reddish. Of course, those guys would have helped if they were in the lineup, and they weren't. Illness for Cam Reddish, illness for D'Angelo Russell, and Austin Reeves coming off that bad injury that he had falling on his back, hip, whatever it was, a couple nights ago. But I just thought the Lakers could have been smarter. I thought their execution could have been better. And this did not have to come down to one of my favorite coaches in the NBA throwing an assist our way like Will Hardy. Basically, coach of the Utah Jazz threw a no-look pass to the Lakers tonight for the W. All right, that's long enough before I'm hearing from my people here. So let's take a look here and get everybody's comments and opinions. What do we got here? AR, thank you very much, my brother. I appreciate the super as always. Slee, what a nightmare. LeBron needs to stop shooting threes if it's not falling. Max and Gabe, perfect game. Jazz biggest error in the NBA, but a W is a W. Okay, I did not get a chance, and I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a theme of this. I'm not going to be the only one saying, Bron, let's pump the threes down a little bit. But I'm going to go to a couple of the other players that we talked about, or that AR is mentioning here. There have not been many nights that I've sat and said, hey, Gabe Vincent, I liked his game tonight. Or Gabe Vincent, I felt like he helped out. Lakers didn't have a choice. They were going to play. I don't know the last time I've seen Gabe Vincent play 32 minutes. He played 32 minutes tonight. That's a lot for Gabe Vincent. He started for the Lakers tonight. And maybe this is one of those games that can give him a little bit of confidence, but he wasn't out there firing away and taking 10 shots. Lakers shot 22% from 3. He shot 66%. He went 2 of 3 from the three-point line. He only took 5 shots, 4 of 5 from the field. I thought very productive. I thought he just did what he can do. This at this stage, I don't know what your expectations are in Gabe Vincent, but mine isn't very high. And if Gabe can give him 10 points and hit a couple of threes, a few rebounds, I think he ended up with 3 rebounds, had a steal as well, I'll take that. Because, and if you'd have told me when Gabe Vincent signed with the Lakers, I think he's been one of the more disappointing players on this roster. Last year, he didn't play because he was injured. This year, he just hasn't been good. There's been some games where they didn't want to play him. There's been some games where he's played and you haven't felt his presence. But give him credit tonight, because I don't know how many of these are going to be there. And maybe this is the game that changes for Gabe Vincent. But there are a lot of times he doesn't look confident. He's not taking many shots at all. I think it was last game. at the free throw line, misses 2 straight free throws. I'm like, okay, Gabe, you can't even hit a free throw. But I thought his production was good tonight. Let me look at a couple of these other players. You mentioned Max Christie. Max Christie, the most impressive thing to me from Christie tonight, guy was getting to the free throw line, was aggressive, was not just, relying on threes. He took 2 threes in a league where everybody just seems like they're fine away from the three-point line. Do you know Max Christie went to the free throw line 10 times? Max Christie took more free throws than Anthony Davis and LeBron James combined tonight. AD, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. LeBron, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. Max Christie, 8 of 10 from the free throw line. We got Shaq in the house? We got Shaquille O'Neal in the house? Is that what Max Christie is living at the free throw line? They're going to do a hack of Christie. That's impressive. And I thought his minutes, I'm going to say this because I want everybody to understand. Plus minus does not, it never tells the whole story in the NBA. It doesn't. But it tells a partial story. Max Christie was a plus 10 in the plus minus tonight. Jalen Hood-Schifino was a plus 12. Now, he didn't play nearly as many minutes. He only played 13 minutes. But Max Christie, in 30 minutes of play, was a plus 10 in the plus minus. Dalton Connect was a minus 19. Doesn't tell the whole story, but I'll tell you tonight, we're all watching the game. Max Christie was more productive. Like I mentioned, he was aggressive, looked comfortable out there, and then obviously got to the free throw line. So give Gabe Vincent and Max Christie some credit tonight, and let them get a little bit of love because that doesn't always happen. AR, thank you for the super. I appreciate that. Thank the basketball gods. No D'Lo, no Reeves. Northborough AES, thank you for the super. I appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of the show. I don't know if you got to thank the basketball gods. I just think you got to thank Will Hardy. In my opinion, that's all you got to think. You don't have to go too far with the gods. This might be one of my favorite comments. Let's see if I saw it here. It's a good comment. Game ball goes to coach. Some people coming into the chat are thinking, wow, JJ Redick must have done something great. JJ Redick must have been phenomenal tonight in coaching. Wrong. That's the wrong coach. The game ball goes to the other coach, Will Hardy. I think what the Lakers should do, I think Anthony Davis should run over to that other locker room, go into the Utah Jazz locker room, get the ball, and hand it over to Will Hardy and say, we appreciate you. I don't think I'm going too far here. Maybe some people are going to think I am going too far. I think Rui and Max Christie should grab the Gatorade and maybe dump the Gatorade over Will Hardy. You know what I mean? And everyone should kind of start jumping together in happiness and sing Kumbaya. Will Hardy had a lot to do with this W tonight. All right, let's keep going here. What else we got here? Let's see what we have here. Good job, Max. All right, some people giving some love to Max. Let's talk LeBron and AD here real quick. All right, let's see. Looks like people yelling at each other about 3-point shooting. Slee on some indica right now would be crazy. I'd be a lot calmer. Let's tell you that. I'd be like, what? It's crazy. Will Hardy is crazy. Facts, man. LeBron tried to take a dagger 3 being 0-8. That's actually kind of funny. Taking a dagger 3 when you're already 0-8. It's just unnecessary. You don't need it. All right, as soon as we get a player here, I'm going to kind of keeping an eye on Spectrum. It's AD. All right, AD's talking right now. Let's get AD's thoughts here real quick on this game. Anthony Davis, by the way, I'll get
take away what's the key there to not give up a clean look.
I mean,
33 and 13 for AD.
It wasn't like we take away 3, we take away 2. Like, we wanted to take away everything. And Colin got down here, and I was actually going for a block, but I heard the whistle, so I stopped, and he ended up making it, but I don't know if he would have made it. I probably would have blocked it, but I mean, I don't know. The coach saw something. But for us, especially when the timeout is not called, we have to lock in we don't get a chance to kind of talk about what our coverages are or whatever. So it kind of helped us, helped us bring Christian into the game to be over the ball. And then also kind of just, got some confusion, it looked like, from them, where they couldn't get the ball in and kind of fumbled it and stuff like that. So it kind of worked out in our favor.
Just a different game in terms of the guys that are out. Gabe stepping in and playing well in the starting role. Max and JHS playing more off the bench. What were the things you noticed, and what's the challenge in a night like that when it's different personnel?
We had a sense, no matter who's playing, it's just how we play. And obviously, no AR, no D-Lo, no Cam. You got guys. Jay Hood, comes in, steps up, plays well. Armel coming in, playing well. Max, Christie has been playing well, and continued his great play tonight. Gabe, gets to the starting lineup, big threes, big time plays, on both ends of the floor. So it's definitely a challenge, but as long as we execute what we're supposed to do, because everyone knows our schemes and what we're trying to do. So it's not who plays, it's how we play, and I think we executed to a T tonight.
You guys spent a big chunk of these first 20 games.
I'll get one more from AD, and then I want to talk AD and Braun for a couple of minutes here.
And different things like that. Tonight in the second half, you guys slowed down a ton of mismatches, and similar to how you guys have played in the past. Is the best version of this team one that can do both?
Yeah, it's game by game. Depends on who's on the floor. For us offensively and for them defensively. Tonight we saw something that we liked, trying to get a mismatch with Keontae George on Braun, and then have him just make plays out of it. But I mean, that's not who we've been, but we can't get to that. We've been a team just to run our sets, and it was a different personnel on the floor, late game for us as well, that we, typically don't have, because D-Lo or ARs, playing. So, but I think we executed. We got what we wanted. We got the shots that we wanted, and it worked out for us tonight.
All right, we'll stop it right there, and keep going here. Let's talk LeBron and Anthony Davis here for a quick second. So, AD, if you guys remember the game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, which was, what was that, Friday night? What's tonight? Sunday night? Lakers played Thunder on Friday night. Between those two players, I think they had 27 points total, and it wasn't enough. And I think everybody kind of just sat back. It's like, what the hell did we just watch from these? Oklahoma City, one of the best defenses in the entire NBA. They were fantastic. But one of the things that wasn't happening is, hey, where's Anthony Davis? This is too big of a game for AD not to get the ball enough in the fourth quarter. By the way, have we had that conversation before on every Laker conversation anybody's ever had, whether here on YouTube or if you're just hanging out with your buddies or your friends? Every conversation when it comes to Anthony Davis is, I hate when that game comes where you're sitting saying, where was AD? How come AD didn't produce enough? And tonight, if you look at AD and LeBron, AD had 33 tonight with 13 rebounds, a couple steals, a block shot. LeBron tonight, 27 points, 14 assists for LeBron, and also had the 5 rebounds. So I mentioned it, the game against the Thunder, that he looked, the best way that I could put it, I said, Bron looks old. He looked old against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tonight against Utah, there were moments where it was not crazy about his game. I know some people on here, there's kind of either people are going to overreact and say, Bron should never take a 3 again in his life, or people are going to say it's LeBron James. The guy can do whatever he wants. How about we just find some middle ground here? I thought there were moments in this game where Bron was incredibly effective, that he was hitting big shots, that he was taking the ball to the basket, or he was posting up guys and he was delivering. And 14 assists, 14 assists. I don't care how you call it. You just don't see that often in the NBA. You don't see that many players in the league. I don't care if they're 25 years old, 35 years old, or 39 years old like LeBron. 14 dimes is a lot of dimes in the NBA. So both of those players obviously were a lot better than they were against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Here's a problem. Those guys got to deliver against the elite of the elite. OKC is one of them. And this is the Utah Jazz. It's one of the worst records in the entire NBA. and you only won by 1. And that's with those two guys chipping in 60 points with 18 rebounds and 14 assists combined, all their stats together. It's interesting. I saw somebody put on here, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the show, and you guys, please chime in. I'd love to read your comments on this. We're 20 games in. 20 games to me is like the perfect barometer of a season, because I think by the time you get to 20 games, you only play 82. So we're talking about a quarter of the season is basically done. I think it's like 19.5%, or I'm sorry, like 24.5%, 24% of the season's done. We're a quarter of the season through, and we got a chance to see this team 6 games in the preseason, and now we've got a chance to see them for 20 games in the regular season against good teams, against bad teams, against average teams, against the East, against the West, against some of the elite players in the league. We've got a little bit of everything. They're 12-8. If you told me, and like I said, I'll throw this question out to people right now, just what is your thoughts of what this team is 25% through the season? Because I think if you told me they were going to be 12-8 by the time, if you told me they're going to be 12-8 before the season started, I would say, okay, I'll run with that. 12-8's fine. What I didn't want to see is JJ Redick, his first year as the head coach of the Lakers. They've got off to such bad starts in the past. What I didn't want to see was, hey, they're 8-12 to start off the season, and they're still figuring out a lot, and they're in the Western Conference, and you're digging yourself a hole. All that stuff that comes with the Western Conference. JJ Redick's first year. Are these guys going to be bought in? LeBron, Anthony Davis, how they feeling? How they looking? Are they healthy? Are they okay? Lakers, did they make some strides with D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura? Blah, blah, blah. We could have gone through all the storylines. 12-8, I don't think is a bad record. If before the season started, you told me 12-8, I would say, okay, I'm all right with it. It's not great. Great is 14-6 or 13-7, which is only 1 game off. But 13-7, I've been like, damn, sign up for that immediately. The one thing I will say, what makes this a little bit odd is they stacked up so many of those wins early on. They got 10 wins like that, 10 of their first 14 games. Obviously, that's how the Lakers started the season. They were 10-4. Well, since then, they're 2-4. So now you're kind of looking at it and saying, okay, but these last couple of weeks, it's looked a little bit iffy. It hasn't looked all that great. And then you kind of go through the details. You're saying to yourself, well, let's go through some of the players. How has LeBron looked this year? Sometimes good, other times not. How has Anthony Davis looked this year? Pretty damn good for the most part this year, but he's had a couple of matchups against elite players that I wasn't crazy about. Let's kind of, another game that I'd look at is the loss against the Denver Nuggets. Obviously what happened to the Oklahoma City Thunder, but I have very, very little to complain about with Anthony Davis. Okay, then you look at Austin Reeves. You say kind of getting what you thought you were going to get from him. D'Angelo Russell, he's been disappointing to me. And, I don't know how much of that's going to change, but D'Lo's been below average, in my opinion. Rui's been in and out of the lineup when he has played, below average, in my opinion. Gabe Vincent's been bad. Dalton Knecht has been in probably the best storyline the Lakers have had all season. So the 12-8 record, I don't mind. It's just where are they trending? Which direction are they going in? Is 12-8 a stock that you're saying that stock is on the up and up, or is 12-8, hey, they kind of cashed in a lot of their wins in the beginning, that stock is starting to go down? That I think is the bigger question to ask when you're looking 20 games in. But that comes with, I'm sure there isn't a team out there. I'm going to take a quick look here because I'm going to look at the NBA standings here. I don't think there's a team out there that's saying to themselves, yeah, there's been ups and downs. OKC's not complaining. They're 16 or they're 15-5. They look great. Houston has jumped out, and I thought Houston was going to be a problem this year. I didn't think they'd be the number 2 team in the Western Conference. No one in Houston's complaining. Memphis, I don't think anybody's complaining. Where I think you're starting to look at it and you're asking some questions. Phoenix hasn't been perfect. Minnesota, I'm sure are asking questions of, should we have traded Karl Anthony Towns? Should we have not? Sacramento's 9-11 after the DeMar DeRozan trade. The Denver Nuggets, sometimes they look good, sometimes they look bad. They beat the Lakers, and then the next night they're giving up 145 points. So I'm not here to tell you all these teams are perfect. A lot of these teams, none of them are perfect. But the 12-8 record for the Lakers, which is where they're sitting right now, has them in the 5th spot in the Western Conference, tied with the Dallas Mavericks. I think they're in a good position. My concern is the trend that they're going in. Are they going in the right direction? It feels like over these last few games, they have not been going in the right direction. I'm going to get into all your guys' comments in just a second, but let's take a quick listen here if Bron's got something to say here. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, I think you have to have the ability to be able to have that, and it's something we haven't done. But tonight called for that. Obviously, we had a lot of our big guns out with AR and D'Lo, so we had to go to something more of a 2-man game with myself and AD, which obviously our team may not be as comfortable with it, but AD and I are. So we just try to put the other 3 guys on the floor and in comfortable positions where they can read and react if anything breaks down.
You guys have done stuff so differently offensively this season than you have in your other years here, and really a lot of your time in the league. Have we underplayed how big of an adjustment that is?
Myself?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't
think we ever ask you about how are you adjusting, because you've done so much, but has it been an adjustment?
Oh, absolutely. This is my lowest usage rate of my career, so it's definitely been an adjustment.
Did tonight feel more like normal, or is that?
Yeah, tonight felt a little bit more. Obviously with AR and D'Lo out, the ball handling responsibilities heightens more, and I had to do that today, and it felt, like normal for myself. But the way we want to play this year is a little bit different, and I'm adjusting to it as well.
What do you focus on, I guess, to make that adjustment easier, not just for yourself, but the entire team?
What do you mean?
Offensively, in terms of, you said your usage at its lowest. How do you try to play through that, or figure out, all right, this is my spot, these are my spots where I can, ramp it up?
Every game is different, but, just trying to fill it out, figure it out where I'm, where am I needed throughout the course of the game, and, look at my teammates, look at the coaching staff as well, but, just figuring it out. I mean, 19 games, 20 games, yeah. So,
20.
Some adjustment.
I got you.
For myself, but I'm figuring it out.
All right, we're going to stop right there. There are a lot of comments out there. I just started a ton of them here, so Bron kind of bought me some time. Sometimes I'm like, Bron, hey, what'd you have, 14 dimes tonight? Get 15. I could use you for a quick second here. Give me a second. I could look at some of these comments, so then we could keep going here. So I'm asking everybody about the first 20 games. And I'm going to read off what some of the people have said here as far as the first 20 games. Here's one that I can't really argue. 5th in the West. If I told you through the first 20 games, you're 12-8, you're 5th in the Western Conference, I don't think there's a Laker fan out there that would say, I don't think there's a Laker fan out there that would say, no, that's not good enough. So, okay, that's a little bit of perspective there. Okay, here's another perspective. They're 12-8 because they've literally had the easiest first 15 games in the league. They played against bad teams and teams missing their superstar. Okay, that's why, if you guys notice this, if you guys listen to me, one of the things that I always say is I like barometer games. I like when the Lakers got a game against, a second of a back-to-back and they got to go to San Antonio. Maybe that's not the best example. I like them playing Denver healthy. I like them playing OKC sort of healthy, right? No Chet Holmgren, no Alex Caruso. So that wasn't, it's probably not the best example, but OKC is winning with or without those players. They're winning, and they're only going to get better. I like them playing, and then there's just been some games where it hasn't happened. There was a game against Memphis, no Ja Morant. There was a game, no Desmond Bane, no Marcus Smart. They've had some matchups, no Joel Embiid, no Tyrese Maxey. But that happens in the NBA because not everybody's playing 82 games. That's just not the league that we're in. So there's always players that are missing. But it's a fair thing to say but when they play good teams, what's it look like? Utah's not a good team. It was a 1-point win. even without D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves. But I'll read some more of these. Okay, this just kind of shows where everybody is. You got somebody saying, hey, they're 5th in the West. What are we complaining about? Got somebody else saying, yeah, they're 5th in the West. They're 12-8. But here are some things to keep in mind. Here's another one. 12-8 ain't bad for a rookie coach and an aging superstar. The problem is that sustainable? You know, I guess that's the question that I'm asking now. The question I would ask now is, the team that they have now that they've put together with this roster, okay, well, in 20 more games, are they at the same pace? Are they 24-16 through 40 games? I'd be really surprised if they're 24-16 through 40. If they're 12-8 through the first 20, can they mimic that and be 12-8 again? If everything just kind of stays the same, you know, no major injuries or anything like that, are they 24-16? That one I think would be tough to. If you're telling me I got to buy that, that's a tough one to buy. I don't know if they're going to be doing that. All right, let's look at another one here. If you had a pinpoint trade, Alan, what would be your best guess? I think they're going to go get it big. But I think they need to do more than just get it big. You know, I'm gonna kind of jump around here to something. There was a story out earlier today. By the way, I'll read this one here real quick too. If Rob doesn't make any moves to improve this team, then he should be fired. I don't know I'm going to be honest about this. I don't know what would get Rob Pelinka fired. I don't know. I think there's a couple different ways of Pelinka. And I did a piece on Pelinka maybe 2 weeks ago or so on the morning show, the Sliwa show, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on YouTube. But I remember when I did the piece, I was really trying to emphasize and explain, you can't just look at Rob Pelinka and say, what has Rob Pelinka done the last 2 years? You got to look at everything that he's done. Number one, he did bring a championship to the Lakers. Whether you like it or you don't, he was a part of that championship roster. And he did make really good moves to get rid of Russell Westbrook that got the Lakers to the Western Conference Finals. So you just have to. It's not like Rob Pelinka's been around the Lakers for 5 years now, and every single year it has been just awful and they've done nothing. If we're going to talk about Rob Pelinka, you have to tell the full story. And I'm not here trying to make a case for Pelinka, because I think it would be the most absurd thing if the Lakers don't make a trade by this trade deadline to improve a roster that clearly everyone's telling you got to improve this roster. It's just not going to be good enough. If the goal is to compete for a championship, I don't think they compete for a championship with a roster that they currently have. So you got to talk about the totality of Rob Pelinka. I don't think Rob Pelinka is going anywhere anytime soon, period. I don't. So we'll have to, obviously wait and see what happens. But in regards to the trade that you're talking about, even if they go out and get a big, I saw in the chats, Robert Williams, I saw Jonas Valanciunas' name been thrown out. Brook Lopez's name's been thrown out. There have been a lot of names that have been thrown out. I don't think that's enough either. I still think they're going to need more. There was an article, or I saw somebody tag me on it a little bit earlier today. There was a report out there that Brandon Ingram, and I'm going to read the report here, that Brandon Ingram is leaving his current representation and he's joining Clutch Sports Group. Okay, then instantly people are like, oh, that's it, Clutch Sports Group. He's going to be a Laker. Okay. I'm not here to try to make a case for Brandon Ingram and figure out what he's going to do. But I will tell you this, that style of player Brandon Ingram is, they need a player like that. They need a player like that for the current roster, and they need a player like that for the future as well. That's a guy that you could say, okay, B.I., Anthony Davis, LeBron eventually, decides he's no longer going to play, and now we can go out and get that second superstar, and maybe B.I. kind of gets pushed into that the third best player on the championship team. I'm a fan of B.I.'s game. I am. I'm a fan of Brandon Ingram. If you're asking Brandon Ingram to be the best player on your team, I don't like your team. If you're asking Brandon Ingram to be the second best player on your team, I like your team a little bit more. But if you're asking Brandon Ingram to be the third best player on your team, I really like that team. Now, I don't think there's a path for the Lakers to get B.I., but when people are asking me what kind of trade is out there, what kind of players do you think the Lakers need to get, yes, you need to go get your big, but you also need a real wing player, a two-way wing player that can play both sides of the ball. That is today's NBA and is a real consistent threat on a night in, night out basis. They don't have that. If you thought Rui Hachimura was going to be that, he clearly is not going to be that for you. So BI joining Clutch Sports, for those that are like, hey, it's signed, sealed, and delivered, he's going to be a Laker. No, it's not. I don't think the Pelicans are going to be, trying to make another move with the Lakers. Maybe the Lakers could try to strong on them, but the reality is where that team is. I don't think they're looking for a D'Angelo Russell. Maybe they're just looking for an expiring contract, but they do have DeJounte Murray there. They do have CJ McCollum. I think it'd be really tough to get a guy like that. And I don't know if the Pelicans want to do another deal with the Lakers. I don't know if that would be in the best of. I don't know if they personally want to do another deal with the Lakers. They were forced kind of strong arm to do it before with AD. I don't know if that's going to happen again. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, let's see what else we got here. It's hate LeBron part of the season. Okay. Rob ain't getting fired. He's not getting fired. He's not. And again, I'm going to go back to this. Let's just not pretend like Rob Pelinka's done nothing for the Lakers. One of his biggest criticisms he's going to have as a president of basketball operations is you won an NBA championship. Why'd you go change that roster? Why'd you change it out as much as you did? Why did you make as many moves as you did? I think they kind of got a little too cute. I mean, in the beginning, I thought, hey, Marc Gasol, not a bad player. Dennis Schroeder, not a bad player. Really, the reason why the Lakers lost that following year, remember, Phoenix got to the NBA Finals. They played the Bucks. Phoenix won up 2-0. Milwaukee came back and I think won 4 games in a row. Lakers lost that year because Anthony Davis got injured in the playoffs. So we really actually don't know just how far that Lakers team could have got. But I think what everybody was looking at is, why did you make changes once you won an NBA championship? And I don't know if he can have a good answer for that. All right, let's look at some more of these comments. 47 minutes in, guys. I had a show coming up in 12 hours. Can I save some of my content for the show in the morning? Jesus. All right, let's look at some of your other thoughts here. You like barometer games. You got one tomorrow night. Okay, this is actually a good transition here. Let's talk a little bit about the game coming up tomorrow. I actually forgot tomorrow. I forgot they go second of a double header, or they go back-to-back. They play again tomorrow. So Lakers got the Minnesota Timberwolves. I remember when that trade went down. So we'll do a little preview of this Lakers-Timberwolves game coming up, and we'll go from there. I remember when that trade went down, and I'm like, wait, they did what? They just got to the Western Conference Finals, and they're breaking up their team? Okay, I know there's some financial implications. I know a lot of people have talked about, do you really want Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns and Naz Reid? Do you need that much size that's there? There are times where Rudy Gobert isn't playing. Lakers got the Minnesota Timberwolves tomorrow. I wasn't a fan of the trade, but I was like, all right, let's see how this thing pans out. And it's still super early. I mean, whatever you think of the Minnesota Timberwolves, don't pay too close attention to it. It's too early. But they're 9-10. They're a 500 team through the first 20 games. The first quarter of the season, they're a 500 team. I haven't really watched every game of the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I will tell you the one thing I liked with their team when Karl Anthony Towns was there, not everything I felt like was on the shoulders of Anthony Edwards. Now I feel like everything's on the shoulders of Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle, is he a nice player? Yeah, he's a nice player. He can't be the second best player on your team, and he might be for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rudy Gobert, okay, he's kind of all defense, but not that much offense. Mike Conley, big fan of Mike Conley. I wish the Lakers got him instead of D'Angelo Russell when trades were going down a year and a half ago. Dante DiVincenzo doesn't even feel like he's already potentially on the trading block. I don't really know what this Minnesota team is, but they don't scare me the way last year you watched that team grow together. There's going to be some nights where Karl Anthony Towns is the leader of that team. There's going to be other nights Anthony Edwards is the leader of that team. This squad right now, I think they're very beatable. So that game coming up tomorrow, it's a winnable game. but it's going to be also a really tough game for the Lakers. A second of a back-to-back. They'll fly tonight to Minnesota. Minnesota will be ready to go. Anytime the Lakers are on the road and they're playing a team like Minnesota, you know they're going to be ready. Anthony Edwards is going to try to move the ball up and down. I got no idea. Is D'Angelo Russell going to play? Is Cam Reddish going to play? Is Austin Reeves going to play? Those are three key players that you obviously would like in that lineup. So it's a big challenge tomorrow. I'll tell you this. I'd be more surprised that we're sitting here tomorrow and we're talking about that was a W for the Lakers than it was a loss. If they lose tomorrow, not a big shock. If they win, then I'll be sitting here saying, I don't know how the hell they just went 2-0 in their last two games. You got the assist from Will Hardy, and then you got obviously this game. Minnesota's it's a winnable game, but it's going to be a tough game, second of a back-to-back. And like I said, everyone loves playing the Lakers. All right, let's look at a couple more of your comments, and then we're going to call tonight, and everybody's going to go to bed because they all got to get up at 7:45 to get ready for the Sliwa show tomorrow starting at 8 a.m. All right, let's see what we got here. They should win. D'Lo, Rui, Vincent is only worth a bag of chips to the Knicks, so we have to throw in the first rounder. Yeah, your picks are going to have to go, period. And to be honest with you, you did such a great job at drafting Dalton Connect this year. Run with that and go look at those next two picks that you have. You got a squad. Somebody had put a comment in there. The Lakers are in one of the worst positions possible because they're kind of in the middle here. Are they competing for a championship? Probably not. They're going to try to compete for a championship, but I don't think they could do it with this roster. They got to go improve that roster. All right, let's see a couple more of these comments, and then everyone's going to bed. I'm telling everyone they got to go to sleep right after this. Let's see here. Why do people keep saying we got an easy schedule? I think we had the most back-to-back starting the season. I haven't looked. I don't want to look at that right now just while we're doing the live show, but I'll take your guys' words for it. LeBron tomorrow, 28, 12, 7 rebounds, and 9 turnovers. Listen, not 9. Can we go 28, 12, 7, and 6 turnovers? I'll do it with 6 turnovers. I'll take that one. All right, final one here. We can't make a trade right now because every team knows we're desperate after watching tonight's game. Listen, they're going to have to make a trade anyways. And one of the things that I don't like people doing is making an excuse of, well, they can't make a trade because everybody knows Lakers need to make a trade. Okay, well, that's part of the league. There's a lot of teams out there where it's obvious they need. What teams don't need to make a trade? What teams don't? OKC doesn't need to make a trade. Boston doesn't need to make a trade. And that might be the only 2 teams that don't need to make a trade. All these other teams need to improve their roster. Even the Cavaliers, I think, still need to go try to add a piece. Denver could get more depth. Go down the list. Dallas, maybe Dallas is the only other team that doesn't need to make a trade. But all these teams need to make trades and make moves. And there have been teams like the Dallas Mavericks that made moves before the trade deadline last year, and that kind of catapulted them to the NBA Finals. So whether people know it or not, you still got to go out there and make moves. You got to go make things happen. All right, my people, I appreciate it. We went 53 minutes tonight. The goal is always around 40 to 45. So when we go 53, this is what I like to call overtime. It's overtime. Looking forward to tomorrow night or tomorrow morning show. We'll have, of course, we'll talk some Lakers basketball. We'll talk a little bit about the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Some things went down in the baseball world. We'll spend some time on college football playoffs, NFL that's going on. A lot of great stuff to get into tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to the show. I appreciate you guys hanging out for a solid 50-plus minutes. Lakers escape from the Utah Jazz. When you guys go to bed tonight, I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you guys at some point, just a quick little thank you to the man upstairs and just let him know, hey, we appreciate Will Hardy. We appreciate the coach of the Utah Jazz. My people, thank you for hanging out. Always enjoy doing the post-game show here. Personal channel. This is my channel. For those who don't know, I'm 100% now exclusive on YouTube. That's it. All my attention's going on YouTube, and your support means a lot. So please subscribe to the channel. I'm back on tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks, everybody.